jump in. Thanks. I'd love to hear from everybody. The 10-step practice. Evette, when speaking, shared a little bit about hers. Can others share what they are doing with their 10th step and what they're seeking? Two different speakers always mentioned, seeking somebody who's going to sort of hit them in the face with it. Is that what everybody looks for? Is somebody who's going to offer them the truth, or how do you practice it, and what are you seeking when you're doing that?
I'm Olis. I'm a grateful member of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I think the 10-step over time has become almost an unconscious thing. The part of it that I'm most conscious of is when I get really disturbed and I need to call somebody and explain to them the thing that has disturbed me so that they can help me see the place that I am creating a pattern of pain in my life. But the watching part, the turning to help people part, those things happen after a long time, almost unconsciously.
Thank you, Olis. Would any of our other speakers like to share?
Sure, I will, Jen. I have a question first. What is spotlighting?
Where the screen comes up and it's your giant face, full glory of your face up on the screen.
I didn't know that. Yeah, it's a very active process. Practicing these things each and every day, and I'd say the most active part for me is letting go of how much I like my defects. And so that, it says we're entirely ready, and I've got to remove all these things. Okay, but man, oh man, I reach points where sometimes I like being angry, sometimes I like being self-righteous, sometimes all that stuff. And that for me is very, very active. And so I turn that over constantly in reviewing my day and inviting God in at the beginning. And I did it just yesterday. Wrong, promptly admitted. Said something to my wife. I said, take that back. I'm really apologize for that. Wrong thing to do. And it really is. It's a great way to. It has become a very quick thing. It does not held over for very long anymore. I just can't. At the point now where I can't be as comfortable with that as I used to be. Heard alcoholics say, it ruins your drinking. Al-Anon, when you're really doing it, really kind of ruins delving into the old way of doing things. So that's how I do that. And I always look for some nice quiet time in my day, and I'm happily retired, so I can find time to do that now.
Thanks so much, Rick. We've got a couple of other hands raised. So Tina, if you'll unmute and we'll get you to ask your question.
Hi, I'm sorry I'm late. I was late, which is my life. I'm blown away by the incredibleness of this meeting. And I missed it last week, so I'm very grateful there's recordings if I can figure out how to get them on my phone to work for notifications. I realize I have to have a notebook, which I have many notebooks because I'm going to be so organized and so spiritual, and I have about 10 of them that are empty.
Hi, and, can we just cut for time purposes? Can we get
yes, I'll hurry up. Okay.
Thanks so much.
Okay. Olis, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right. My friend who has done so much for me, who is not in program, I owe her a bit of minute, and I've ignored her and ignored her and ignored her, her text, and she did something very wrong. And I think I set her up to be wrong, but the point is I didn't know what to say to her. And she's been very helpful for me when I was sick, and you said something, I'm sorry I've been absent. And I don't know what else you said after that. So if you can add to that, that would be great, because I'm writing it down in the doctor's opinion, which is where I first started. So that would be great if you could tell me.
Thank you for the question, Tina. My name is Olis, and I appreciate you acknowledging the pronunciation challenge. It is what it is, right? So the most important thing that I say to people, regardless of the circumstance, is I know that I have harmed you, and that's not what I want. And I want to make it right with you. So then whatever I've done fills in the blank, right? I'm sorry that I've been absent. I hope that we can connect soon. I'm sorry I wasn't considerate of what your needs were. I'm sorry that I took something from you without paying. I'm sorry that I've been slow to pay. There were several examples. And so at the core of it, it doesn't matter what the exact thing is that I've done. What I'm always doing is trying to replace the harm that I've done with love. And so I'm acknowledging the harm, and I'm offering to mend the tear in the relationship I've created. I hope that that was helpful.
Thank you so much, Olis, and thank you for the question. I'm glad you're here. We have Anne with her hand up with a question.
Hi, thank you. Hi, I'm Ann, an alcoholic. This is for either Evette or Alice. Now, Evette, you spoke about a 10th step, like a call, like you call up other people to, kind of, if I remember correctly, run it by them, or Alice, when you, in doing a 10th step and you want to kind of make amends to someone that you're doing, but you want to talk to someone about it first, right? And you think, how do you get past in your crazy head, get past saying, I'm not going to call someone and talk because I know what they're going to say and then what they're going to tell me what to do. And you think you know what they're going to say, and probably you don't want to. So how do you, what's a good way to get past that, to get your feelings known to that person about how you're feeling, like, I really feel crappy and I really want to call this person and tell them. Does that make sense? But anybody?
So thank you, because that's my biggest challenge. And in my experience, there's only one thing that can get me to do that. And that's trusting God that that's what I'm supposed to do. It's just a matter for me of, you know what, I want to call, but she's just going to tell me, XYZ. And so I talked myself out of it. And for me, there has to be this very clear recognition that if I know this is what I should do, like if I know, like the book says, discuss it with somebody. That is in the instructions for this first step 10. So if I know that's what I'm supposed to do and I'm not, then I have to be aware that I'm choosing my disease in that moment. Because that is the only thing that's going to stop me from calling. Right. And the fact that I think I know anything, like at all, is the problem. Right. It just, and sometimes, like, I've been lucky enough to be very close with my sponsor. I talk to her more than any one person should talk to any one other person ever. And sometimes I do know what she's going to say. Sometimes I need her to say it. Right. And so I just need to do it. There's an old kind of saying that if the thought comes into your head and you don't act on it within 5 seconds, that you're never going to do it because you'll just talk yourself out of it. So I try to, as soon as it comes up, before I can talk myself out of it. And I just have to do it.
And I would only offer that this is a thing that I use. Whenever I think I know, I remember that is me playing God, because I don't know. But when I'm like, oh, I know what they're going to say, that's me playing God. And that is always the wrong thing for me to play.
Thank you so much.
My input would be that the concern needs to be on what you have to say, not considering what they're going to say. The only strength that I can get from God is to take the right action.
Thanks, Rick. Cyndi, do you have anything you would offer on that?
I think it's been covered adequately.
Thank you so much. I don't see any other hands raised. So I guess we're okay. I'll ask another question since we don't have any hands raised. Oh, now we do. Beautiful. Sally Ann has her hand raised.
Yeah. Okay. No, here we go. Can you hear me? It was like a little game of pressing the button. Kia ora from New Zealand. Olis, Cyndi, Rick, Evette, you've all carried a beautiful message of hope and strength and honesty and courage and all those beautiful things. I really needed it. My question to all of you listening, I just had all those beautiful sparks in my heart and all of that stuff. But one question for each of you this time. Do you ever should on yourself? And if you should on yourself, what's the tool that gets you back? Thank you.
I'm going to just go ahead and go for it because I shit on myself all the time. Like, just, I mean, just call me boss baby, put one on me, and like, you know, all the time. But two things happen for me in those moments. When I do it, I have to, it's almost always to cover up some kind of fear, right? I should do this and not this because otherwise I'm not good enough. There's this recognition that I'm just not good enough, and I'm grappling with that. And there's no trust in God and anything greater than me in that, because I am judge, jury, executioner, pardoner, you name it, right? And I will condemn myself every time because it gets me what I want. So the second part is the recognition that I have a payoff. And that my payoff is I don't have to then go do this scary thing because I should have done this instead. You know, I get to just sit there and beat myself up instead of actually try to do something productive or necessary or anything, whatever it is. And as soon as I start to see that as the payoff that it is for me, then it just becomes about my own, you know, my disease wanting that to be fed, you know, and me just being so willing to feed it that I will sacrifice what God obviously needs me to do. And I believe that the second part of your question was, how do I get out of it? And for me, it's that owning it. It's that, you know what? Yes, I did it. There's nothing I can do about it. Nothing's going to change. This is just what it is. What do I do now? And then and that is a very big capital bold underline, outline, highlight, and do the next action, correct it, or to do something about it. You know, so just my experience.
I think we have time perhaps for one more of the speakers to share if they would choose to, or we can go to the next question.
I'll take it. I'll say that I very rarely do. Very, very rarely. And when I do, it's resolved in short order. It used to be about, I mean, it just could be about anything. I should have bought a different car. I should have invested in that house. I should have, you know, I should have said other things before she died. But in the 11th step, which I know you guys are going to talk about next week, it's really clear when we, you know, review our day at the end of the day, that we're, you know, careful not to drift into morbid reflection. And a should is morbid reflection. So when I morbidly reflect about anything, I diminish my usefulness to others. And I really believe that. And the more that I am able to live present, like just present, like I am where I'm supposed to be at this moment. I may have a friend dying somewhere right now, but I'm supposed to be here. And so if I should have been there afterwards, you know, then I have reduced this moment and it'll diminish my usefulness tomorrow. And so, I mean, I think Alice talked about now, it's all we have. All we have is right here, right now. And should is always in yesterday. And, you know, if I make it right, if I owe an amend, if there's something I need to do differently, good enough. That's all.
Thank you so much, Cyndi. It was wonderful. Thank you. All right, gang.